Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive where today we're looking at AI and how it could seriously change how government works, actually make it better for all of us. You sent over this white paper that really got me thinking. There's some stuff in here I honestly never would have guessed. Like, did you know the VA's using AI to try and figure out which veterans might be at risk of suicide? It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and what's striking to me is how the paper goes beyond just saying buy new tech. It really hammers home how governments need this whole shift in thinking, like a culture of innovation, to really get AI working for them.
Okay, so before we get too deep into the specifics, you've been in this field a while now. Can you kind of break down why this whole innovation push is so crucial for governments right now? Like, what's making it so urgent?
Well, I mean, just look around. Technology is changing so fast. Everything's instant, connected. People just expect things to work. And they expect the same from their government, right? They want efficiency, quick responses, even personalized stuff. The old ways of doing things, they just aren't cutting it anymore. Right. It's like how we order anything online and expect it in an hour. We want that level of ease everywhere now. So where does AI actually fit in? It feels like kind of a buzzword sometimes, honestly.
Yeah, I get that. It's become a bit of a catch-all phrase. But at its heart, AI is about getting computers to do stuff that usually takes human intelligence. Analyzing data, making calls, even learning and changing as it goes. That's where its potential in government really comes in.
The white paper breaks down a few areas where AI could have a big impact, like decisions, security, and just making things run more efficiently. Anything in there particularly jump out at you?
Well, we talked about the VA preventing veteran suicide. That shows how AI can help people make better choices, tough choices. It can analyze tons of data, medical records, even social media, and find patterns, red flags that humans might miss, leading to faster intervention and hopefully saving lives.
It's kind of mind-blowing that looking at social media could help with something as serious as suicide prevention. It's like connecting the dots in ways we never could before.
Exactly. And that's just one example. Imagine AI watching our infrastructure, like bridges, spotting wear and tear before it becomes a huge problem, or helping first responders in emergencies by looking at live traffic cameras, weather, all that stuff.
Okay, so that's on like the federal level. But the paper also mentions how AI is being used or could be used by states and cities. What's different there?
Scale's a big one. Federally, you've got massive data, nationwide issues, air traffic, cyber attacks, that kind of thing. But locally, AI can tackle those super specific problems we all deal with daily.
Okay, like what? Something I might run into in my own city.
Imagine you're stuck in rush hour, which happens to all of us. Now picture AI looking at traffic patterns and changing the traffic lights in real time to keep things moving. No more sitting at that one red light forever.
Okay, that I could get behind. That's some AI I can actually appreciate. The paper mentioned personalized learning too in schools.
Right. Imagine classrooms where AI tailors each lesson to how each kid learns best. If you're struggling with algebra, AI gives you extra help, while your classmate who gets it can move ahead at their own pace. It's about every student reaching their full potential wherever they're starting from.
So like AI is the tutor. Sounds straight out of science fiction.
It's becoming more real every day. And then there's the more, down-to-earth stuff, AI checking our local environment, air quality, pollution, even predicting wildfires, using data to make smarter choices to keep us safe and healthy.
This all sounds really promising. But how do governments even start with this? How do they go from these big ideas to actually making it work?
That's where things get exciting. The paper talks about these things called idea management platforms, basically online hubs where government people and even regular folks can share ideas for how to use AI to improve things, solve problems. It's like tapping into everyone's brain power.
So it's not just tech people in a room deciding what we need.
Exactly. It's about working together, being transparent, making sure the solutions actually work for the people they're supposed to help. And here's the cool part. AI can actually help run these platforms themselves.
Wait, so AI is helping to come up with ideas for how to use AI. That's kind of trippy, isn't it?
It is. AI can look at all the ideas, find trends, even connect people working on similar things, like having an AI assistant helping the whole innovation process along.
This is fascinating stuff. But I know there's more to talk about, right? We've only scratched the surface of this paper.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's plenty more to unpack.
Well, then let's take a breath and dive back in. Okay, so more to unpack, you said. What's next?
Well, we've talked about how AI could help governments make better decisions, improve security, even personalize stuff, and how crucial it is to have that innovation culture so they can actually make it work. But there's one more thing we got to talk about.
All right, hit me with it.
What's missing? It's like this. Any new tech, especially one as powerful as AI, We got to make sure it's used responsibly, actually helping people, not creating new problems.
You're talking ethics, right? That's a big deal these days.
Exactly. And the paper really digs into this. It's not about being anti-AI or saying it's bad. It's about recognizing the potential downsides and having safeguards.
So specifics. What are some of the big concerns they highlight?
Privacy is a huge one. A lot of AI relies on massive amounts of data, and a lot of that is personal stuff.
Mhm.
Medical records, finances, even your location. So we got to be super careful about how it's collected, stored, used. We need strong protections to prevent misuse.
Right, like, I love the idea of AI smoothing out traffic, but I don't want my every move tracked without my say-so. There's a balance, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. It's about finding that sweet spot, using AI's power without giving up our right to privacy. The paper talks a lot about transparency here. People should know what data is being collected, how it's used, and be able to opt out if they're not okay with it.
Transparency, yeah, good word. The more we get how these systems work, the more we can trust them.
Right, exactly. And there's another point the paper raises, accountability. Who's responsible when AI screws up or causes harm? With old systems, you could usually trace it back to a person's choice. But with AI, it's way more complicated.
Like, if AI misdiagnoses someone or causes a car crash, who's to blame? The programmer? The government using it? It gets messy.
It does. And this is where we need those clear rules for AI accountability. We need to know who's making sure these things work right, who's on the hook if something goes wrong, and what people can do if they're hurt by an AI's decision.
So it's not just the tech itself, it's the whole system around it. The laws, rules, the ethical guidelines.
Exactly. And the good news is those conversations are happening. Governments, researchers, tech companies, ethicists, they're all trying to figure out how to use AI ethically.
It feels like a pivotal moment. AI could make government so much better. But
Yeah.
we got to be careful, make sure we're not creating more problems than we solve.
Absolutely. It's a delicate balance. And it'll take a lot of thought, working together, and open discussion to get it right.
So, where does the listener fit into all of this? What can you do with this information?
Well, just being aware of these issues is huge. The more people understand about AI, what it can do, what it can't, the ethical stuff, the better we can have real conversations and make sure it's used for good.
So we can't just leave it to the tech people to figure out.
Exactly.
Hmm.
This affects all of us, so we all have a role to play. Whether it's staying informed about how AI is being used in your community, asking your elected officials questions, or even just talking to friends and family about it.
So be informed, be engaged, be part of the conversation.
Exactly. The future of AI in government isn't set in stone. It's being shaped right now by the choices we make, the questions we ask, and what we do.
Well said. And this white paper is a great place to start if you want to learn more. It's full of insights, examples, even links to more resources.
It really is valuable. I encourage everyone to dig deeper, do their own research, and most importantly, don't be afraid to ask questions. The more we understand about AI, the better we can handle it and make sure it's used to benefit everyone.
Okay, before we wrap up, one last thing. The paper focuses on how governments use AI internally to improve their own stuff, their services. But what about AI actually bridging the gap between citizens and the government, like in new, innovative ways?
That's interesting. We're already seeing some of that, like those AI chatbots that answer questions or help you navigate government websites.
But could it go further? Could AI help people participate in democracy in more personalized, engaging ways?
It's definitely possible. Imagine AI analyzing public opinion on issues, helping people connect with their representatives, or even running online town halls or forums.
That's exciting. But of course, there are downsides. We got to be careful about AI being used to manipulate people or create those echo chambers where you only see what reinforces your own beliefs.
Right, it's all about balance. We need to explore how AI can boost civic engagement, but also be aware of the risks and make sure it strengthens democracy, not weakens it.
Yeah, it really feels like we're at this turning point, like AI could completely change how government works. But we have to make sure it's for the better.
Couldn't agree more. It's not about just loving the tech, it's about using it in a smart way to build a future we can all be happy with.
So as we wrap this up, what's the one thing you want our listener to remember? The key takeaway?
I'd say the biggest takeaway is this: the future of AI in government. It's not some set path, it's being shaped right now by the choices we all make, the questions we ask, and what we actually do.
So we can't just sit back and watch, we got to be part of it.
Exactly. Whether you're in government, into tech, or just a concerned citizen, your voice matters. Stay informed, ask those questions, and don't be afraid to fight for a future where tech actually serves people.
Well said. And I think that's a perfect way to end this. This has been a really eye-opening look at AI in government. We've covered the potential, the challenges, all of it.
It's been a pleasure. Always great to see someone so interested in learning about these complex topics.
To our listener, thanks for joining us on this journey. We hope this deep dive has given you a new perspective on what AI can do and the role you can play in shaping its future. Remember, the future isn't something that just happens, it's something we build together in a continuous